Y'all, I am so tired. In the last video, I introduced my new foster puppy. I think he's about a year old. He is indeed a puppy. And I'm exhausted. He's super fun, and I love him. He's brought a lot of life and joy into our little house. You know, last month we had to say goodbye to our nephew dog, who was also a pit bull mix. He was a pitty bully mix, and he had bone cancer. He was just 3 years old, so Henry and I took him, to that final appointment. We gave him a really good day, and we took him to sleep and said goodbye, and it really messed me up. And so bringing in this foster puppy has been a ton of work. Obviously, if you've ever had a puppy, you know how much work it is with the training and the exercising and everything. But I think it's really healing my heart, especially knowing that we saved his life. He was on death row and his deadline was up. No one else was going to get him. So knowing that we gave him a chance makes me feel really good inside, like we're honoring Mac, our nephew that we lost somehow. But oh my gosh, I'm so tired because he's so much work. I often think to myself, like, people who have never had a puppy that think they want a puppy. No, you don't. You don't want a puppy. Unless you are fully prepared for a long journey of learning and a long journey of around-the-clock work, and you're up for a challenge. But it's very, very rewarding. Personally, I'm more of a senior and disabled animals gal. That's usually what I lean towards. But I just couldn't let him die, He still has so much life left to live. And one thing I will say is that my biggest tip for training a puppy, not that I'm a professional by any means, but my biggest tip is exercise them first. They have so much energy, and if you do not exercise them, they're going to be bouncing off the walls and they're not going to listen. They're going to have too much energy. And of course you can train them while you exercise them. That's great, because they also need mental exercise. But if you do not get that energy out, they're probably not going to listen to you much at all. So I've been getting up early and taking him on pretty long walks every morning. We're usually back by 9, and our morning walks usually last like 30 to 60 minutes. And I try to do training along the way. He is kind of fearful. I don't know what he's been through so far, but he was in rough shape initially. But I'm just trying to do positive reinforcement, getting him used to experiences. I mean, we live in kind of a rural area, and he's from a big city. And so, the noises here are different. It's a lot quieter overall, but we have, different birds here. He was getting afraid of roosters crowing and crows cawing and things like that. But he's been doing really, really well. We're making a lot of progress. But yesterday, I made the big mistake of not walking him first thing in the morning because we had to go to Walmart to get some groceries. So we went, and the parking lot was just a little too busy for me. So I didn't take him out and walk him around, and I just thought, okay, maybe the car ride there and back, because we do have to go out of town to get groceries. So I was like, maybe that was good enough, maybe that was his morning exercise. boy, was I wrong. So in the afternoon, I decided I would take him for a walk, and he had way too much energy throughout the day from not being walked in the morning. And so I was like, well, I better try to walk him before it gets dark. And I was going to take our other dog, Junie, because she has some arthritis, and I like to make sure she gets some exercise, kind of loosen her up. We didn't even get to the street. This was the first time I was trying to walk one of our dogs with him at the same time. I will not be doing that again anytime soon. So we get to the neighbor's house, and they pulled up in the driveway, and our neighbor gets out, and this is the first time he's acted like this. So it was really surprising to me. My neighbor got out, and she looks at him, and she was like, what kind of dog is that? He is very unique looking. And she approached us, and she does talk very loudly when she speaks. And he bristled, like his fur stood up like a cat down his back, and he started barking at her. And his eyes were just fixated on her, like out of fear. And I wasn't expecting that, because he hasn't barked at anything or anyone else like that. And I was not prepared for that. And, I had training treats on me, so I was trying to get him to focus on me, sit, you're okay, and he just wouldn't. He was like looking around me, trying to, keep her in his sight. And I reached behind me and handed her some training treats. I was like, you want to try these? Because I just didn't know what to do. So I'm trying to get him to sit and calm down. Meanwhile, Junie, because she never stops moving, she's walking in circles around us, tying us up. And eventually, my neighbor just handed me the treats back because she had to go inside. And she was like, here's your treats back. And I was like, I'm so sorry, he's never done this before. And we weren't far from the RV, so I untangle them. I'm trying to pull them both back to the RV, because it's hard for me to do, to focus on him, like one-on-one training like I have been doing, with Junie there, doing her little senile circles around us that she does. So we get back to the RV, I open the door, and now he is like upset because he didn't get his walk, and he refuses to come inside. Usually he's fine about it. And so I'm trying to put his paws up the stairs to get him in, trying to push his butt up the stairs, and he yanks backwards. And so I'm trying to push him into the RV, and he's pulling backwards, and he slips out of his collar, which scares me so bad because he doesn't have any kind of identification on it. This is the first time I've fostered for the shelter he's from. At the other shelter I fostered with, they have identification tags that they send them home with. This guy does not have one of those, and I was terrified that he was going to run off into the woods, not knowing that there's mountain lions here, and something terrible was going to happen. So he slips out of his collar, which I didn't even know that it was loose enough. Personally, I use harnesses on my dogs, because I'm afraid of exactly this happening, but they did not send him home with a harness. He got a collar. So he slips out of his collar, and he kind of jumps back and turns to run. And I just tackled him. I tackled him onto the ground. I was so embarrassed because I had other neighbors outside too that could see all this. And so I tackle him, and he's wiggling, and I have his leash and collar. I'm trying to put the collar back around his neck. And I had dropped Junie's leash, but I don't think she would try to run away ever, but, she's 16, and she's kind of not all there. So I drop her leash, I'm wrestling with Klaus, trying to get the collar back on, and she's just walking away, just leisurely stroll kind of speed, not even fazed by what's going on. She's just gonna go sniff some stuff. So I get his collar back on, I pick him up. He's 50 pounds, okay? I am not a big or strong person. But I pick him up, put him in the RV, and then shut the door, go grab Junie, bring her back. And I was on the verge of an anxiety attack because I was so scared of something bad happening to him. So I made him look at me, and I was like, I raised my voice at him because just out of fear, and I feel bad, but I was like, no, you cannot do that. I was just so scared. And he looked at me like he knew he did something wrong, but, you know, I could tell he was fearful of my neighbor, you know, approaching us loudly, and I know that I should have walked him earlier before all his energy got pent up like that. I didn't realize it was going to be that bad, because he did get out for an hour or two with us, but it was just mostly in the car. And so I just made sure they were settled. I removed myself from the situation for a few minutes while I let my anxiety, you know, take its course, and so I can calm down. I went into the bedroom and shut the door for a few minutes, and then I came back out, and then, you know, my heart hurt just because I felt like it was my fault because I didn't walk him that morning, and I guess coming with us in the car was insufficient. You know, I figured it wouldn't be as good because he is a puppy with a lot of energy, but I didn't realize how insufficient that would be. So, you know, I apologized, and like I explained to him that he just really scared me, and like I'm here to keep him safe, and you know, I wouldn't let anyone near us that I thought would hurt him. And I was sorry I tackled him, and I let him know that he really embarrassed me in front of the neighbors for having to tackle him like that. And yeah, today, you know, first thing this morning, we went on a walk. It was about 45 minutes, and we got home at 9, and it's 2:30 now, and he's still out. And I had to lay down for an hour or so as well, just because even before yesterday I was really tired just from having a puppy and training him, trying to train him. But he's been doing so amazing. Like, I've got him to the point where I'm trying to teach him impulse control, so he's able to wait for me to put his food down. Sometimes when he feels like he can handle that, he's able to wait. Like, if I'm about to take him out, I'll open the door and tell him to wait for my signal before he can leave, and he's been doing really, really well. And today on his walk, I tried to get him used to as many of the weird sounds around here as possible, lots of training treats, and he was able to sit and watch me as cars went by, or there was another person walking a couple dogs, and he did really, really good. Yesterday was the only bump in the road so far, but I think I was at least partially to blame for that, because I took the chance of not walking him first thing. So yeah, my biggest tip for puppy training or dog training at all is exercise your dog first. Get that energy out. They are so much easier to work with, and it makes all the difference. It really does. But other than that, he has been just perfect. Just a perfect little puppy. Super cute. He's sleeping under the table right now, just being a little angel. I'm so glad that he didn't get away yesterday and that nothing bad happened. I tightened his collar for now, and I'm going to be a lot more careful. I love him. He's just a good little guy. I would have been so devastated if something happened to him, like if he got away, because there are a lot of mountain lions around here. Bears as well, but they seem to be afraid of dogs. Mountain lions, some of them don't seem like they're afraid of anything. I actually ran into one several months back back in summer while I was walking my dogs. And I've actually gotten really lucky with the animals around here because we've run into a bear and a mountain lion, and they both totally respected our space. It was amazing. God was with us, and maybe they could just tell that we weren't a threat. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think a puppy would be smart enough to know that there are predators like that out there, or know what to do if they came across one. So I'm going to be very careful with him from now on. I'm going to walk him alone, not bring my other dogs, and keep exercising him as much as possible. So exercise your dogs, train your dogs, positive association. Those are my tips. If you're thinking about getting a puppy, but you don't know if you can commit to that because it can be 24/7 work, consider getting an older dog. It doesn't have to be like an old dog, but like if you still want a young dog, but you don't want to deal with like the puppy stage, I would say between like the ages of 2 and 5. I feel like that's good. Anyway, I'm very tired, but I'm very happy. It's been a very rewarding experience so far, and it'll only be a week tomorrow, so this is just the beginning of our adventure, and I love him so much. He's snoring. He's so cute. That's really all I wanted to say. Don't make the same mistake I did. Whatever's working for your dogs, with him getting a long walk-in first thing in the morning, do that if you're still in the training stage. I love you. Bye-bye.